Hey guys, and thank you for tuning in to this review of Missing You on Netflix. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to actually review this series because it took me like 4 or 5 days just to watch these 5 episodes. But nonetheless, if this review seems all over the place, it's because this series was actually all over the place, all right? But nonetheless, thank you for tuning in. You could be on any channel in the world right now, but you're right here with me, and I really, really appreciate that. So before we get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you do like movie reviews and also TV reviews. Now, what we're going to be going over today with this review of Missing You, we're going to do a recap of the plot and go over the characters again, just for a quick refresher. I want to go over like an alternate ending that I would have liked to see. And that subplot, guys, I don't even think we're going to touch too much on that subplot, just to be clear up front, because that subplot didn't have much to do with the main storyline. It was just a distraction, all right? And I want to go over the LGBTQ element of this series, guys, because I think they could have did a little bit more with that. It was kind of LGBTQ, kind of a hot mess, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so let's get into these things. All right, so the main character we had of this series was Detective Inspector Kat Donovan. She was a very dedicated detective. She worked in the missing persons unit and very good at her job. You know, personal life, she was a bit soft. She was really, really too soft for my liking, actually. I would have liked to see her turn up on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people about, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into that a little bit more. Secondly, we have Aqua. Aqua was my girl. Aqua was a transgender woman. She was Kat's best friend. And honestly, I would have liked to see a little bit more of Aqua on the screen. We have Stagger, who was played by Richard Armitage. He was actually Kat's boss. We have Stacy, who was the curly hair girl, who was the PI that was actually helping Kat find her ex-fiance. And speaking of her ex-fiance, his name was Josh. Josh was, I believe, in Top Boys is where I know him from. I forgot his real name. Pop it up here, though. Ashley, forgot his real name. But super likable character to me, in my opinion. I wanted to see more of Josh, too. But Josh was Kat Donovan's ex-fiance that disappeared 11 years ago. And she has been looking for him. Again, we'll dig more into that as well. Then we have Clint Donovan. That's Kat's daddy that died. Got a lot to say about Clint. Got a lot to say about Clint, y'all. And we have Kat Donovan's mom, too. Her name was Odette. All right. But nonetheless, those are the main characters. Obviously, there's more, but those are the just some of the ones, the main ones that I want to talk about mostly, all right? And now that we have the characters down pat, guys, let's go over the plot of Missing You on Netflix, okay? When Detective Kat Donovan comes across her former fiance on a dating app, the man who left her 11 years earlier without a trace, she finally has an opportunity to get the answer she always wanted. But nothing is quite what it seems. Kat soon realizes that Josh might be connected to a missing persons case she's investigating, as well as her father's murder. Now, with more questions than ever, Kat begins to wonder who she can trust as she tries to uncover what really happened. All right, so that's the quick synopsis. Guys, and this leads us into the plot holes of this miniseries, which was just 5 episodes, and it could have just been a movie, honestly. But listen, so we got the main character, right? A detective. Her fiance disappears, ghosts her. He left. He took the clothes out the closet. She just comes home one day and he's gone, right? And this is just days after her father died, right? Days after. She's literally mourning her father when her fiance dips off and leaves her without a trace, right? But this is a plot hole to me, because 11 years later, right? We're going to fast forward. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the beginning, but this review was more, it has spoilers, obviously. It's more so for y'all who saw it already and for those people who really don't even want to watch it, all right? So anyway, fast forward 11 years later, she actually ends up finding Josh, right? But my thing is, if you're a detective, and she seems to be a very good detective, she couldn't find Josh a little sooner. Josh was right there at his daddy's house. This whole time, Josh was right there at his daddy's house. I just don't see how she could not find Josh a little bit sooner. And honestly, I'm not sure why they decided on 11 years. Like, that time span to me created so many unnecessary plot holes that could have been taken care of if they just decreased that span. Like if it was just 1 year, 8 months, it would have made a lot more sense to me. All right. So that 11 years time span was throwing me off left, right, left, right, left. Again, not going to lie. It took me a while to even watch this series and get through it all. Right. So that's the first plot hole for me. The second plot hole to me, and again, it's so many plot holes, was when Kat was asking her mother Odette about, her dad possibly having an affair. And this ties into that 11-year time frame again. Like Odette says, yeah, a lot of the cops were doing that back then. Like back when? Like, lady, we're just talking about 11 years ago, right? She's talking as if she's talking about something that happened back in the 60s or the 70s. Again, like all of the cops were doing it back then. We were just talking about 11 years ago. So to me, that threw me off again. Something like that. When there's no logic in something, I get thrown all the way off. All right. So again, going back to that timeline, this 11 years, Harlan Coben, if you just would have shortened that, the viewers would have been more engaged and we would have been able to, make it all make sense. All right. Going back to that 11 years again, at the end, again, y'all saw this already, right? Or if you haven't seen it, just know that Kat's daddy, she already knew that he got murdered, obviously, at the beginning of this series, right? And they were all trying to protect her from knowing that her dad was gay. Her dad had a whole double life. He was with another man for 14 years. They even had a place together, all of that. They were in love, right? But my thing is, Clint Donovan, her dad, again, he was going crazy on Aqua. So Aqua is the transgender woman that found out about Clint. Like she just saw him on the street arguing with his boyfriend, trying to give his boyfriend flowers, trying to make up. And she caught him in an act. And he chased her down and he was really finna kill her. He was going to unalive her because she found out his secret, right? So my thing is, going back to that timeline, this is just 11 years ago, right? So, it's not the end of the world if, someone finds out you have a double life 11 years ago, right? Again, it just makes it feel like this storyline is so dated. Like it should be back in the 60s or 70s. It would have made more sense. But the way he was so angry and so upset, I didn't really understand how he was really about to kill Aqua just because he had a boyfriend on the side. Like, bro, it's not the 60s and 70s. You're not going to get killed. Like, okay, you're gay. All right, it's fine, But nonetheless, again, that just made me just a little bit upset and a little bit, pissed off, right? But those are just a little bit of plot holes, right? And one more that I want to go over because again, it's a lot. I don't want to make the video too long, but the whole cover up, right? So Josh, eventually we find out that Josh was the one that killed Kat's dad, right? He did it by mistake. Kat's daddy was attacking Aqua. He almost killed Aqua. Josh stepped in and mistakenly stabbed Kat's dad. It was a mistake. He did not mean to kill that man. However, the murder weapon was still in evidence. And a murder weapon always had 2 fingerprints, right? And they never could identify the second fingerprint on the murder weapon. And in the last episode, we find out that the second fingerprint belongs to Josh. And Josh confesses to Kat that he was the one who killed her dad. Like, come on. Like, that's a big plot hole. Like, the person who covered it up, this crime, was Stagger, Kat's boss, like a top-of-the-line detective. Like, you mean to tell me you left fingerprints on the murder weapon, but you covered up this murder scene, right? I just, to me, the logic is not adding up. Like, it's just not adding up. That along with just the whole way Josh revealed that he killed her dad, like, to me, it would just felt very flat. It didn't land well for me. Although, if you watch Harlan Coben films, you know that the killer is always in the first episode. Typically. Not every time, but typically. So we knew it was somebody that we saw from episode 1. I even was beginning to think it could have been Kat Donovan's mom, Odette. I was like, I thought Odette murdered her husband. I don't know. But nonetheless, guys, those are the plot holes. But now I want to just go over just a little bit of the LGBTQ element of this all, right? Like, I feel like they show Aqua, they wanted to have a representation Netflix, right? But I don't feel like I saw enough Aqua, right? I wanted to know just a little bit more about her. She was Josh's roommate for entire 4 years. 4 years. Like, how did that happen? Like, was she Josh's roommate before she transitioned? Like, I really wanted to know more about Aqua. So if you're going to have representation, like Netflix or whoever, like, I would like to know more about that transgender woman. I really do. And speaking of Aqua, right, I didn't know it was so many people opposed to seeing her on the screen. Like, I read so many comments on Twitter, I believe, where people, they turned on the episode, they saw her there, and they clicked it off. Like, they didn't even want to watch it no more. I'm like, wow, I didn't know it was, some people still like that in 2025, right? You know, no judgment, but I was just really shocked and appalled to see those comments on Twitter, right? But nonetheless, yes, just would have loved to see more of my girl Aqua. She was one of my favorite characters. And also, you know, I wanted to see, like, the dad. He was on the down low. Again, 14 years, that's a super long time to be on the down low. He had a whole wife and kid, but he had a boyfriend on the side with a separate apartment. That is a long time to keep up with a double life. It's sad for you as the individual keeping up with the double life, but it's sad for your family too. And I was very upset that they were trying to protect his secret. Like, they didn't dig too deep into this in the last episode when they were trying to cover up his murder. But I knew that his colleague, Stagger, knew about his status as a download man. And he wanted to cover that up. But I don't think he just wanted to cover it up just to protect his friend. I think he wanted to cover it up for the entire police department. Because maybe he just didn't want that reputation for his police department. I don't know. But I really didn't like that element of it. How everybody around him was just trying to protect that he was a gay man. Like, come on, this man has a whole family. Like, that's wrong. Like, he was married with a kid. Like, come on. Like, I could see if you didn't want to snitch, right? You know, that he had a double life. But once it came out, like, just let it come out. Once the shit hit the fan, let it hit the fan, okay? But anyway, that's another aspect of that whole, you know, just LGBTQ thing that I didn't like. I didn't like how they were glorifying him being on the down low. To me, I didn't like that at all. But yeah, so next, let's just go over a little bit more about Kat, right? Did y'all think that Kat should have turned up a little bit? I think Kat should have been turning up on all her friends, guys. Everybody was lying to her to protect her feelings. Everybody was lying to her so she wouldn't find out about her dad's double life. And obviously they were trying to protect Josh too, because Josh actually killed him. But nonetheless, you know, I wouldn't want to be friends with any of them anymore, you know. But comment down below and let me know your opinions on that, because I understand you try to protect your friends sometimes because the truth is hurtful. But I think that she's a big girl and she could have handled it. And I think she was tormented for 11 years just trying to wonder and think what really happened. So those are not the kind of friends that I would want around me. All right, so next we're going to go over alternate ending that I would have liked to see. And guys, I know this review is like all over the place, but guess what? This series was all over the place. So I'm kind of all over the place too, all right? Had way too many subplots, too many plot holes. It was just a lot going on. But something I would have liked to see. I always think about that after I watch like a show or movie that I don't quite like what could have made it better. Well, I would have liked to see, this is my ending, right? I'm not no writer, so I don't really know how to describe it eloquently, but here I go. I think Kat should have been the one that killed her father, but we didn't find that out until the last episode. I feel like it should have been something along the lines of like a psychological drama, like something where she blacked out in a fit of rage. She found out about her father's double life. She blacked out and she was the actual one who killed him. And her friends and family around her were trying to protect her from the truth because they didn't want her to know that she was the actual one who killed her daddy. And I think she could have found out about it by finding some kind of or documents, or maybe it could have been her fingerprint on a murder weapon at the end, you know, that they tried to cover up. But I think it would have been so dope if it would have been one of those movies where, you know, the person just blacks out, does something, and forget about it. So that's what I would have really, 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 really liked to see. Let me know what y'all think about that, and then comment down below. Something else I was thinking of too is I would like to see more of Josh. I would have liked to see Josh and Kat actually switch roles, right? I wish that Kat was the one that disappeared. But before she disappeared, I wish she would have been pregnant, right? Because that baby, like when we meet Josh's daughter, that part just didn't make sense to me. It wasn't clicking to me that he had remarried so quickly and had another baby. Like, had a baby, so quickly. That part was just, it wasn't landing right for me. So I would like to see the roles reversed. Like, just imagine a whole series with Josh as the lead. And Kat is the one that we're seeing flashbacks of. Just imagine how much better that story would have been told. And then they wouldn't have been trying to protect Josh's feelings as much, right? Because Josh is a man. People tend to think that women are a lot more soft. Although, again, Kat was very soft in this series. She was getting my nerves. She was way too soft. She should have been checking everybody left and right around her. She should have been torturing them for the information that they had. But anyway, guys, you know what? I'm just done with this series. Again, I rated it a 2.5 over 5. But it does make me want to go back and watch some Harlan Coben, some of his better works like Safe. And even Fool Me Once was better than this one. But nonetheless, guys, thank you for watching. This is just my second video on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Right now, we're at 6 subscribers. We're trying to get up to 25,000 by the end of 2025, guys. So be sure to subscribe, like, and tune into the next video. Peace.